Welcome back to Capitol Review. I'm Mark Hall. History has shown that following a presidential election victory, the party takes a hit in the midterms. Will history repeat itself again next year? Joining us once again is Republican political strategist Jeffrey Lord and American University professor Dr. Omekongo Dibinga. Jeffrey, what can Republicans do to maintain the majority, at least in the House?
Well, I think what they're going to do under the president's leadership, he's going to treat this election as if he himself were on the ballot. And it's, you know, every indication we have is that he's going to be out and about campaigning and campaigning hard. So, you know, presidents are stuck. I remember in President Reagan's case, he won a 44-state landslide in 1980, and 2 years later he got clobbered in the congressional elections. Then he won a 49-state landslide and got clobbered again in 1986. This is pretty much normal. Presidents take it on the chin, and you know, on we go.
Well, Dr. Dibinga, Jeffrey said that President Trump clearly is going to be front and center. Is that good for Democrats?
It's amazing for Democrats. I mean, this is a man who just can't stay on message, and any type of political instincts that he has, they've been dwindling over the years. And the more we get closer to the midterms, the further he seems to drift away from what actual Republicans are asking for on the ground. He's talking about going to different states to talk about affordability, and he jumps into his greatest hits about the economy. This was a dead country, and now it's the hottest, and all of that. And so he doesn't seem to be interested in what Republicans are dealing with on the ground. I don't feel like he's caught on the message with affordability in any way, shape, or form. And so him being out there is only going to hurt Republicans, which is actually a gift to the Democrats.
Well, Dr. Dibinga, let's stay with you. A lot, as you know, can happen in the next several months and probably will. You think Democrats are in a good position to at least regain control of the House?
I do believe that they're in a good position. I'm a little bit concerned about what Trump's going to be doing as it relates to the National Guard and increasing a military presence across the country, which is going to affect people getting out to vote. Of course, he's trying to cheat right in the open right now in terms of getting himself additional House seats across the country. So that also is a concern for me. But I do believe that Democrats are going to be able to fight that and overcome that. And any Republican who thinks that just because they got a new redistricted seat means that their locals are actually going to vote for them, given their blanket support that they've shown for Trump, I think they may have another thing coming as well.
Jeffrey, your response?
Well, I think Republicans are going to be glad to see him out there. You know, I have been, as you probably know, Mark, I've been to these Trump rallies, as they're called, and he really does get people revved up and enthusiastically minded to get out there and support him in this case, support congressional candidates. I guarantee you we'll have these members of Congress up on the stage with him, and we'll be doing his thing. So, you know, he's going to be at it and try and turn this around.
Jeffrey, quickly, what can President Trump do to maintain control of the House and Senate and after the midterms?
Well, I think it's two prongs. I mean, one is the redistricting efforts that are going on around the country. I think that is important. But then the other thing is to make himself the centerpiece of the election. And, you know, I suppose that could go in either direction. But he certainly feels, and I think the people around him feel, that he's an asset to congressional races, so there's going to be a lot of concentration on that.
And Dr. Dibinga, quickly, the Democrats' message needs to be?
They need to stick to affordability. They need to have an I feel your pain message. They can't try to convince people like Trump that everything is going well in the economy. People won in the landslide elections in November and some of these other special elections because they had a message showing that we can relate. If Democrats speak to that, they have a great chance of winning the midterms.
Dr. Omekongo Dibinga and Jeffrey Lord, I thank you both for joining us.